all of these meat plants, and this goes back to September of 2021. You had the Nebraska JBS meat plant fire. The Made Right Steak Company, that was November 21st. The Bonanza Meat Company, February of this year. Taiwan Grocery Logistics Company, Cara 4, out there, that was on the 14th of March. Rio Fresh, April 1st. Conway Beef and Pork, a fire on the 12th of April. And then there was the Kellogg's plant in Memphis, the Cargill Nutrina feed mill, a food processing plant in San Antonio. There was a fire, Wisconsin River Meats, their Mauston plant. They described that as a total loss. That was on the 3rd of February. There was Deli Star Meat Plant in, it was the 1st or the 12th of January. A potato chip plant in Oregon, a Tyson Poultry plant in Alabama, Taylor Fresh processing plant, April 16th. And Union Pacific has been accused of throttling rail shipment of fertilizer, CF Industries being most affected apparently, during prime planting season. And then CNET reported that 27 million birds have been culled over bird flu. A lot of interesting things happening to the food chain structure here, Kane. There's just a lot there.
Yeah, we touched on this yesterday.
Before anybody else did, really.
And exactly. We were the first to bring this, and my opinion hasn't changed.
I'm glad certain producers watch our show. Go ahead.
Right. But my opinion on it from yesterday is the same. I think there's something intentional behind this. I think they want you dependent on the government. Everyone says, conspiracy theory, this, but like I said before, what you call conspiracy theory, I call spoiler alert.
That's good.
We just have to look at the evidence right now. And all those plants you just mentioned, that all happened within like a 4-month period.
Mm-hmm. Well, except for the Nebraska JBS meat plant. That was in September of 2021.
Okay, so 7-month period.
The Made Right. And there's probably 4 on here that happened in 21. But the rest legit happened since the 1st of this year.
Yeah, and when you have the president saying there will be food shortages, and then what follows is all of these things happening in the next 7 months, come on. What the hell?
I mean, I'm not saying that there's going to be... I don't know. It's just weird. I'm trying not to be a conspiracy theorist, but at the same time, I look at Occam's razor. The simple explanation is usually the most likely explanation. I remember when he had said that, we could have a food shortage and all of this other stuff. Now, CNBC, just to be fair, I'm going to put this counter out here. CNBC published a piece just 2 days ago wherein they said that food shortages are likely to occur in the U.S. Now, their specific perspective was on Ukraine and the strain of the grain exports from that country, because they have because the cost of fertilizers, everything, all that's up 30% since the start of the year. And they were looking at the grain exports in Ukraine and how they're a quarter of what they were in February. It's a direct result of the invasion. And so they were looking at specifically commodities like wheat and corn. They said that they're at the highest levels in decades. And Department of Agriculture had predicted that food at home prices will see an increase of up to 4% by the end of 2022. But they were saying, according to CNBC, that they don't expect food shortages to occur in the United States. They said that, the U.S. doesn't import very much from Ukraine. Okay, well, that's all well and good, but I'm talking about like the food processing stuff. Because I was looking, I'm like, okay, I want to be, usually when I'm looking at certain subjects like this, I want to be disproven. And so I search the internet to try to find something that can actually disprove my working theory. Because that's what we call scientific theory, at least as it's applied somewhat loosely to journalism. And I'm simply, I want to find a counter to my working opinion on an issue. And it was weird because all of the discussions about restrictions on meat, etc., everything was really on like grain and wheat and nitrogen and ammonia and fertilizer and Ukraine's part in that. There wasn't really a lot of discussion as to the processing facilities I was just telling you about. And restriction of and the higher prices of meat. Because didn't he say too, didn't Obama and others, there have been Democrats that have been pushing, and I think it was the National Institute of Health and CDC, weren't they all at one time or another just this past year pushing for a reduction in meat consumption? Which is dumb, because if God did not want us to eat animals, he very simply would not have made them of meat. Very, I mean, there you go. So, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I still think that you need to be aware of all of that.